My name is Lynn M. Thomas, and I'm the head of the Rare Book and Manuscript Library here in the main library. It is my pleasure to welcome you here today to our second public event of the semester. If this is your first time in RBML, we're glad to have you. If you've been here before, welcome back. Keep coming back. We always have snacks. I'm going to begin our program with a land acknowledgement. As a land-grant institution, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign has a responsibility to acknowledge the historical context in which it exists. We are currently on the lands of the Peoria, Kaskaskia, Piankashaw, Wea, Miami, Muscatine, Odawa, Sauk, Meskwaki, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Ojibwe, and Chickasaw nations. It is necessary for us to acknowledge these Native nations and for us to work with them as we move forward as an institution with Native peoples at the core of our efforts. Today's program is the epic conclusion to our inaugural Global Book History at Illinois program. I'd like to thank Dr. Kate Coker for proposing and spearheading this excellent addition to our programmatic offerings that advances RBML's continuing work towards a more global focus. I'd like to thank Elias Petru for his enthusiasm and hard work to put together this first iteration of the series. And I'd like to thank all of the folks who work in RBML, in LAS, across the library and across campus for their efforts to keep this entire week running smoothly. This seminar series will take place yearly, with each annual program exploring a different part of the Rare Book and Manuscript Library's non-Anglophone collections and engaging with the world of bibliographic study writ large. This year's workshop, the Greek book Paleography, Transmission, and Critical Editions 400 BCE to 1550 CE, brought together 30 students and professors from across North America to study and analyze Greek manuscripts and printed books under the guidance of three eminent scholars who Elias will introduce you to shortly. Greece is, in my opinion, the perfect place to start a discussion about the history of the book in a global context, as it is where the West meets the East, straddling multiple languages, cultures, and traditions. Something we are especially proud of is that this program was made possible through the generosity of multiple institutions and departments on campus. The Classics Library Collection through the Literatures and Languages Library, the Classics Department, the Program of Medieval Studies, the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, the School of Literatures, Cultures, and Linguistics, and the University Archives. Through this collaboration, this week-long series of lectures was made completely free to all attendees, something we hope to continue in the future iterations of this program. We are also very lucky this afternoon to have in attendance the Consul General of Greece in Chicago, Emmanuel Kouvarakis, who would like to share a few words.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed scholars, dear students, and guests. It's a great honor to join you today for this inspiring event dedicated to Greek paleography. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the organizers and hosts of this workshop at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, which brings together some of the most distinguished experts in the field. The study of Greek manuscripts from late antiquity to the Renaissance is not only a journey through history, language, and culture, but also a testament to the enduring legacy of Greek thought. Through the careful preservation and analysis of these texts, we gain invaluable insights into the intellectual achievements of past generations, many of which continue to shape our world today. We are privileged to have with us three renowned scholars, Professor Inmaculada Pérez Martín, Agamemnon Tselikas, and George Xenis, whose expertise and dedication ensure that these rich traditions remain alive and accessible. Their work reminds us that manuscripts are more than just historical artifacts. They are bridges connecting us to the minds and voices of those who came before us. As the Consul General of Greece in Chicago, I take immense pride in seeing the Greek language and its literary heritage celebrated in such an academic setting. The commitment to studying and teaching Greek paleography underscores the importance of linguistic and historical continuity reinforcing Greece's deep ties to the intellectual traditions that have shaped Western civilization. I encourage you all to take full advantage of this unique opportunity, to engage in meaningful discussions, to ask questions, and to immerse yourself in the world of Greek script and manuscripts. Let this workshop not be only a space for scholarly exchange, but also a moment of renewed appreciation for the cultural treasures we have inherited. Thank you, and I look forward to an enlightening and stimulating discussion.
Thank you so much, and allow me with my turn to welcome everyone here celebrating the end of this, what a week, this amazing week of intense Greek paleography. And allow me, my name is Elias Petro first to say. I am one of the many organizers. I'm a classical librarian here. And allow me the next few minutes to tell you what actually happened here and how we managed to do this amazing workshop for the entire week. The whole idea started approximately 1 year ago when over a coffee with my colleague, Professor Kate Koger, she mentioned that it would be a good idea to start this series of workshops about the history of global book. And I told her, what about, let's start with Greek. The beginning was a bit hesitating, but then we said, why not? It would be amazing. And we started about slowly thinking maybe a 2-day workshop and maybe having one instructor. But when we shared this idea with so many people in our library, in our departments here, in our university, this idea became huge. And we said, if we are going to do this, let's do it all the way. So we decided to make it the entire week, bringing 3 distinguished scholars, who I'm going to present the following after these remarks. And the structure of the workshop was based actually to cover every aspect of the Greek book. Imagine that we have 3 different groups, 3 different instructors teaching simultaneously in spaces all over the main library and covering the history of the Greek book, the paleographical element, how to read the manuscript until the first transcription, and the third from the transcription to the final edition through critical edition of books. So for an entire week, we plan to bombard our participants with as much Greek as possible. And the whole idea started getting shaped by the end of September, when I reached the distinguished scholars at my right and asking them what they think. That's a good idea, shall we move forward? And after the positive responses by everyone, by mid of December, everyone was on board. And we opened the call for participations. We are so excited seeing so many people all over the country, from California, from Texas, Canada, Mexico, having people from Boston, from New York, Florida, all over the place, and saying, we're going to come. And we're so excited having all these, let's say, alloy of people coming here from different backgrounds, ready to learn Greek. And we started last Sunday afternoon. And from there until today, I share with you a story. I remember a personal story on Sunday afternoon, how that was a personal goal of mine, a personal dream of mine, organizing such a Greek paleography workshop. 15 years ago, I started my master's studies in the University of London, and I was so close to give up and go back to my village and cultivating wine and having goats. And when at the last moment, I attended a paleography workshop. And it was at the Senate House. It was similar like this. And by the end of that workshop, I knew what I wanted to do. So I wanted to share this experience with as many people as possible. And by today, I hope that many people have, let's say, not decide that they want to do something similar, but hopefully inspire them to move forward and see more about our manuscripts and about the legacy of the Greek literature and language. So I want once again to thank everyone to be here with us, but allow me to say the names of the people that not only helped to organize these things, but also bared with me with these multiple emails. Hopefully they still like me, because I was messaging everyone all the time to be as accurate and as perfect as possible. So I want to thank from the in-house, starting from Lynn, from Kate, I have Kari, who helped us so much, Tony at the back, Chloe, Caroline, And going outside, I have Paula, thank you so much, Joanne from the archives, all of this under the leadership of our Dean, Claire Stewart, that helped us so much. And we have outside, we start from the head of the classics. I can so thankful to my dearest Ariana for supporting this initiative, Anthony, Maricel, and Carol from the program in medieval studies. But also I want to thank not just our scholar and campus community, but also our Consul General, Manuel Kumbarakis. I think it's the second time in this month I am bringing him all the way from Chicago, and I feel guilty about that. But I should say that every time we ask for his support, every time we ask for that, we are going to promote the Greek language and culture, and we're going to host something about our material here and our students. He just told me, tell me the time, the day, and a parking spot. And that's all. And he was here. So once again, thank you so much for being here, Consul General, along with Consul Georgia Tasiopoulou. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I want to thank all of you for being here. It was an amazing trip for an entire week. And I look forward in the future initiatives to have you with us and sharing more knowledge, because that was hopefully just the beginning. And hopefully you are not disappointed by the intensive classes, and you still have the strength and the stamina for more. But for now, I left the last to introduce our distinguished scholars, which I sent them an email at the last September, and I was so, let's say, scared doing that, because we are talking about big names, at least in my field, and I was worried that they're going to decline our offer. Coming across the Atlantic, coming in the Midwest, teaching paleography, well, they didn't say no. They immediately said, just count us in. So I would like to introduce them here. It sounds like a tall order to discuss the history of the Greek book in 40 minutes, but I have faith in them, and afterwards we can have a bit of Q&A if you like. They have each provided 9 lectures this week. So here they are in home stretch, and I have to say that imagine that our students received at least 40 hours of teaching in their entire week. That's a Herculean task. Thank you so much. First, I will go from the right, Professor Inmaculada Pérez Martín. She's a scientific researcher of the ILS CSIC, Institute of Languages and Cultures of the Spanish National Council of Research, and Vice President of the Spanish Byzantine Association. Agamemnon Tselikas is the former director of the Center of History and Paleography at the National Bank of Greece Cultural Foundation in Athens. And Professor George Xenis is professor of ancient Greek and head of the Department of Classics and Philosophy at the University of Cyprus. So please welcome with me our professors, and the floor is yours, Professor Inmaculada.
Ladies first. But I'm exhausted. I don't have many things to say, but thank you. It has been really a wonderful experience. I was not confident on my English skills. For me it was a challenge to teach Greek paleography to native English speakers. It's not the first time I teach in English, but it's the first time that I teach to English speakers. So thank you very much for your incredible reception here, and the librarians have been amazing. Caroline, of course, je l'ai trouvé ici une amie française. I mean, this library is full of surprises. Thank you, of course, Elias, for the invitation, and Kate, who cannot be here. I must say that I have been studying Greek books for almost 40 years now, and I have also an anecdote similar to what now told Elias. I was an undergraduate student, and in the last term of my classical studies, professors were discussing all the time about Sappho and other complicated authors, without a doubt her existence and the existence of other poets in antiquity. But I had this paleography course, and the professor said, no, before the the end of the year, you must describe your manuscript. And then I said, okay, I'm going to the monastery of King Philip II, which is 40 kilometers away from Madrid, because he had a collection of 1,000 manuscripts. Half of them were burned in an awful fire in the 17th century, but we still have 600 manuscripts. And I chose Sophocles because it was my favorite writer. And there was one manuscript of Sophocles there, and I saw it, and I realized that that was what I wanted to study for the rest of my life, because it was real. It was there in Spain. I didn't have to go to Greece to find Greek themes I couldn't do it in my country. So, and that's why I did. I started there in Spain, then I went to Paris, then I went to Athens. I met there Professor Tselikas, who taught me also Greek paleography, and then I had a wonderful experience in Rome for 4 years, working at the Vatican Library. And I came back to my country, and now I'm a researcher, and in fact, yeah, that's my life. Greek books are my life. Books are my life because they are pleasure for me, they are freedom, they are happiness. Because I know people through books. And Greek is, for me, is... Because we are worried about the future of Europe. And that Greek for me is civilization, and it's the Western culture, and I want it to be respected and to be studied. Yeah, what I wanted to say.
I think that it's better from here. Yes. Good afternoon, my friends. This week for me was a formidable week because I've made many friends in this topic. I work now for 50 years. For me, paleography is my life. As Inmaculada said, it is exactly the same. That is because the book of every period, every epoch, is something to connect you from with the past, and also to connect with the future. As I told this in a lesson here, we had to read, to study text from Plato. It was in our schedule. And when I teach this text in Athens, about 1 kilometer from Acropolis, I said to the students, tell me, what we are doing now? And the students answered, okay, we read the text of Plato, only this. Don't you feel anything else? Reading the text of Plato in Athens, in the same place where Plato and other philosophers live, and to walk in the same soul, and especially as my office is about 5 kilometers from academia, the feeling is very strong that we live with these persons, with these spirits. It is the same like to read and to work on some manuscripts of Holy Fathers. It is the same. You take something of their sanctity. So when I began to study paleography, not in the university, but let me say alone. Alone because paleography is a challenge. Is a challenge to unknown thing that you must you must investigate and to feel the joy of the new, of the investigation, and to say to yourself, yes, I do it. As some of you, when we read a difficult word this week, I heard, yes, this is correct. So, paleography, again I repeat, it is our life. We are a point of a change between the past and the future. Why? Because we have learned from the past, and as teachers, we must give it to the future. So, you, young people, you are here. You are our future in our science. And the reason that me and my colleagues and my friend Elias, we met this week, we work exactly for this, to cultivate new people, to continue this great feeling, the feeling of humanism, which humanism, this period, it is a little bit forgotten. The humanism of the spirit, the humanism of respect of the other lives. This is also classical spirit. This is the classical spirit. Now, I will not say many things, but I have written something here, very practical. I think if my telephone works, okay. During the lessons, I noticed that there is a very lively interest in paleography, in paleographic knowledge. Although the lack or mediocre knowledge of the Greek language made it difficult to understand the text. This is something I know because our group had some Greek-speaking students and no Greek-speaking students. Don't think the difficulty was accurate for the persons who at first time affront the manuscript book, so not to do the difference of the language, just working on the manuscript, and you are here to say, to feel, I will express that I feel, we are equal, even speak Greek, even not. We had the letters in front of us, we had the history of the book, and all that symbolize the book and the script. Next. Paleographic knowledge is considered extremely necessary for the preparation of manuscripts to be digitized. As I told, practical ways. Now in this, in last years, we speak all together, we speak always for digitizing. Digitizing is not a panacea. It's not a panacea. Digitize is to help, to manage, and to know more, and to have in an easy way the information those manuscripts contain is not it is not the goal, it is the mean to work on manuscripts. But paleographical knowledge is very useful from the technical point of view. At least I was very astonished that we are here in the university where a big, great personality of paleography has left his archive in this place, Alexander Turi. I know him by via the books, the albums, the famous albums of paleography. And let's say that for many paleographers, he was a big teacher, even we didn't know personally. And here, some days before this week, came an idea, also practical idea for teaching. The album of Turin are very useful to study paleography through the tables he published in the albums. So I had the idea to transcribe correctly some of the tablets and selection of tablets, and to be used this transcription for teaching here will be a big honor for Alexander Turin to be alive and to hear and to look his work here in this place. I would like to do this. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm very happy to see you all again and of course to meet new people. First of all, I would like to extend a very, very heartfelt thank you for organizing this extremely important, in my eyes, event. I have to deeply thank Elias Petru for contacting me and for inviting me to participate in this workshop together with my distinguished colleagues. I have to say that I was also taught, like Inmaculada, by Professor Tselikas when I was a student at the University of Athens, and it was a great pleasure and a great honor to be closely collaborating with him on a common project. The other source of immense joy for me was the surprise I was faced with once I arrived in Champagne. Of course, the first surprise, we have to be honest now, was not a pleasant one. I was expecting to see, I should have Googled it anyway, but I didn't. I was expecting, when I went downtown in Champagne, to find a lot of fun, etc., but everything was closed. So, but the great surprise came when this workshop started. As Elias explained, our participants were divided into 3 different groups. Even right from the beginning, the first group, as well as the second and the third, were composed of impressive participants participants coming from many different universities all over the United States of America, but also participants who are already established scholars. They are colleagues holding professorial positions in many different universities. And I said I was a bit, nervous because I had prepared, I was expecting beginners. So I had prepared a presentation which would be more appropriate for beginners. But the energy of all the groups, the maturity of the intellectual, maturity, because they were young, the intellectual maturity of the participants created an amazing atmosphere. I was so comfortable, and I was so happy to see that what I had to share really was of much interest to the participants. And especially that was the case when we started towards the end of our sessions to go through specific exercises in textual criticism. That was where everyone combined forces to find a solution. I would step out of the classroom and let them interact between them and make exchanges. And then most of the time the solution was found. So after 9 hours of intensive course, I feel that most of the participants, of course they have to say that themselves, I'm just sharing my own impression, was that they could handle the difficulties and identify the problems of the Greek text they had in front of them. So that was a source of major moral satisfaction for me. But regarding the nature of my lectures, since most of you here know what I taught, I think it's not necessary to explain at this point. Now, it's also important that this workshop takes place in this specific university. As most of you know, there was a monumental figure here of classical scholarship, Alexander Turin, who was especially strong on Greek manuscripts and in textual criticism. When I received Elias, when I received Elias' invitation some months ago, I felt rather, I was touched because I spent a lot of years at the beginning of my PhD back in 1998 studying the work of Alexander Turin. It was his study on the manuscript tradition of the tragedies of Sophocles is the fundamental work in this field, and I had to study it very carefully. So I was going to the place of my spiritual, one of my spiritual fathers. That was great. Anyway, I don't want to go on talking and talking. I have to repeat my sincere and deep and profound thanks. And may this have a continuation in similar or this, formats. Thank you so much.
brief summary of personal and professional experience. We have time for Q&A and anything that you have experienced this week or non-experience and you want to share it and you want to learn more or you want to discuss it, please feel free to ask our participants and our instructors, please.
What is the item from our collections that surprised you the most when you had the chance to interact with it?
Are you talking about manuscripts, about your collections? I
Yeah.
think you are the most appropriate to
Yeah.
answer.
Okay, I didn't expect you to have Byzantine manuscripts because I know papyri are very common in American university collections. Is that? It's okay. And so I'm surprised you had interest in manuscripts. I chose the two oldest because my aim was to students to can see and not touch, excuse me, but see probably for many of them the first time in their lives to see a Greek parchment and a Greek paper book. But the masterpiece of the collection is, for me, it has been the papyrus, the Egyptian papyrus from the 6th century, which has been bought, and it has a document, a Merovingian document in parchment glued to a papyrus, to a sheet of papyrus with a text of Ephraim the Syrius. The beautiful thing is that, as I explained 3 times, is that this is probably one fragment of a book that arrived to France, to the Abbey of Saint-Martin-de-Tours, in the center of France, when Egypt was conquered by Muslims, by Arabs. And many Christians had to fly away and arrive to Italy, and that's the best explanation to find such a book or such a fragment of book in undoubtedly Egyptian and from the 6th century, two centuries later in a binding protecting a manuscript, Latin manuscript in France. Now this is really amazing, and I also have said that I used that testimony in my lessons before coming here. I mean, it's so important because papyrus is a material that disappears with the damp and the humidity, but it was preserved because it was glued and was protected, and that's why this is a very rare example of papyrus found in Europe in so little date.
Questions?
If there's no question or while people are still thinking about it. Hello, I am Angeliki Neto, a professor in the classics department. I wanted to say that it is an honor to have all 3 of you here. And since you all have talked about how good you are to be at a library and at a place where Alexander Turing taught, I would also like to thank you for helping us with the continuity of the tradition of Greek paleography, and we are in good hands with many of our colleagues here, and I'm very thankful to this as well. I do, however, wish on my part to honor Professor Tselikas. In 1987, and I'm dating myself too, for my personal enrichment, every Thursday I used to go to the Cultural Foundation of the National Bank of Greece on Thukydidu Street in the Plaka, and is beautiful building with a courtyard, and every Thursday we were all welcomed to the side room by Professor Tselikas and taught how to read minuscule, majuscule, many things. And I always went with trepidation and you know what the European system is such, you always have awe at the authority. But this was not because he was not kind, he was super kind to us, but he was a true master, and we are really, really so grateful and so happy to have you here. Thank you.
I cannot say I'm very comfortable here all this, because without imagine that I met you here, without know that you are here. I don't remember the names. There were so many students. But thank you from my heart that you say this. And that's why I said, you continue. You must continue this spirit, the spirit of not only paleography, spirit of humanistic studies, this humanism which was taught by the classic, by the ancient classics, the philosophers, also in the Renaissance, to continue. This is because we need this in our everyday life. We need it. Thank you very much.
Any other remarks, please?
Hi, my name is Annalise. I attended some of your lectures. This question is for Dr. Inmaculada Pérez Martín. When we were talking about the Byzantine manuscripts, and especially when you mentioned Emperor Constantine commissioning about like 50 Bibles to churches underneath him, and you said that there were corrections that were made to the text. Can you elaborate on what kinds of corrections were made? Were they grammatical, or were they more within like scriptural context?
I'm not an expert on but some students of our course are experts on early Christianity texts, and perhaps they can answer better than me. But what I remember is that there were, not. Okay, sometimes, in the Bible, one comma can be very, very meaningful. But I don't know in the Codex Sinaiticus if all the remarks are, I think they are for the good of philological accuracy, not with such theological relevance. But perhaps you can answer better than me, some of you. Thank you for the question. Yeah.
Thinking about the future of, you guys have talked about keeping the tradition alive and continuing on. What do you all think are the biggest needs in the field? Maybe what's your concern? What's your question? What are you hoping future scholars work on? That kind of thing.
I can, probably you can answer all of that.
I think you all can answer.
Yeah. My main concern is that the educational system in Europe is eliminating Greek. That's a big concern. Only in Italy, in Europe, has really Greek stays very, very important subject for the high school, for high school. So this is, if we don't study the language, we cannot study the books, and then this part of the culture disappears. I don't agree with Professor Tselikas, and I mean, digitization is really very, very important, and that's the future challenge, because we cannot use the same methodology studying manuscripts when we have one table, as in Turing albums, and we have the entire manuscript. So the paleographical analysis that we can do is very, very different, and it will be more accurate. And the problem is how to handle so much information. And I'm already old, and it's not my problem. I found money to digitize the entire library of El Escorial, and I am very proud because it's the heritage of my country, and it's Greek. But I don't have students, I don't have students because universities don't pay well. They prefer to work for the National Library, for example. My last student, I lost her because she went to work for the National Library, and it's a pity. I mean, not many research in the future, at least in my country, and I see that is also the problem in France.
Can I say something?
Professor Tselikas, yes, of course.
Or that you said, these last years, about 10 last years, he has begun to apply in the study of paleography new techniques applied on palimpsest manuscripts, for example. It is the method of ultra multispectral methodology, which is developed very, very soon on the study of manuscripts, and not only to help us to read the lower script in the palimpsests, but to detect many, many other sides of the manuscript. I was very lucky, and excuse me because I will speak with myself. I was very lucky in 1998 to apply multispectral light in the palimpsest I had in my office without know what to do. It was another student of the physics. He told me, and he said to me, look, why you don't use infrared light, for example? I said, what is infrared? Infrared is for the potatoes. It's not for, it's not for parchments. And I can say that in 10 days, in the Technological Institute of Crete, where it was a system to detect the cancer of the belly of women, to detect the different moleculars of cancer through this technique, to see according the different colors who came in the screen, moleculars of cancer or not cancer. And very soon after a quarter of time, when we analyzed the light of our parchment, we saw in some seconds to appear the lower script. What's the miracle for us? What's the miracle? Of course, the technique is not only in Greece, but this is the year where the technique of multispectral images on that. And not only, as I said, not only for palimpsests, for many, many other sites. Now we have also another method, the tomographer. Last year we speak, we read about the scroll of Vesuvius, how to apply the tomographer and to detect some words. It is a challenge. This is a challenge for the paleographers, but the technique go ahead, and I hope to be able to read something more. We have applied the tomographer in Antikythera mechanism to read today we had our lesson, the Antikythera mechanism, and you see how easy, in brackets, how easy it was to penetrate inside the metal inscriptions And this is, for the papyrus, is the next step. Like, so we're waiting and working for this. And this is one side of the future. You must have this in mind. And the third, and the last one, from the side of paleography, it is the DNA of parchment. Very important research. 10 years ago, we made the first attempt to have DNA from parchment, and it works. It worked. From 10 specimens, we had answers from 8. And now we work in other 20 pieces of parchment to see how what kind of information we can have. This is also, it is very interesting to combine the new technologies and our paleographical knowledge. All the same. That's what I said.
Yes, I think that we should undertake a large-scale campaign to refamiliarize the politicians about the values of classical education. They seem to have forgotten what humanities stand for, and they seem to be exclusively preoccupied with economics and technology. After all, we are humans, so we need humanities. We need technology, of course, and economics and all the others, but we have a cultural identity. We do want to protect it and develop it and enjoy that side of our humanness. So there should be a number of courses on the curriculum of every school in Europe, in all the world, in everywhere in the world, which has to deal with the human side of students. So it is up to us to raise awareness again of the significance of our studies, because that awareness has recently become very weak.
Thank you so much. I think we have time for one more question or remark. Please.
I just want to say thank you to all of you so much for this. I don't have an opportunity in my life to do research, real research anymore, but I spend all my time teaching and thinking about students, and everything you said here and that I've experienced here about this need to reconnect with humanities and our humanness. One of the things that comes out to me with all of this is how much time and effort and heart and thought went into this huge effort to transmit this knowledge and these texts, how human the mistakes are. The soul that it's transmitted through the handwriting, and the very physical aspects of books and what they mean, and how that their skins, and we saw the video of the hair coming up and everything. And last week I had my students write Greek. You know, they had their English sentences, they had to write the Greek on the board, and then they switched groups and they had to, you know, give each other sentences, and I asked them, you know, what was different from this exercise writing on the board versus a worksheet. And they said, we like seeing each other's handwriting. And I said, and why is that? Because this is your humanness. You're engaging with one another in the room, but you're also engaging with your handwriting. And so I'm going to come back and say, here's some handwriting from people who died a long time ago, who spent a lot of time, so much time and effort and resources across the critical, you know, from the original copying to the critical transmission and all of this, and the creating of the things and passing them along, that like their they're part of this tradition as well. Standing on the shoulders of giants. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, everyone. We have a small buffet at the back and some coffees, but also more important, we have a great collection of the materials, some of the materials that we use for our classes. But remember, better come to the materials and then go and touch the food. Let's be sure. But yeah, once again, please, let's thank again our instructors for being here. And thank you all of you for being here. Thank you so much.